Any Tour de France is, of course, determined and defined by its mountains. And it seems this year, more mountains than ever of note. With the Hautacam dealt with, the Tourmalet, the Peyresourde already behind us. VENTOUX awaits. Still with Glandon, Madeleine, Loz, Seize, Desprez, Rosselin. It was relentless. And so we started to tick them off. Jonas Vingegaard said that he would be taking the battle to Tadej Pogačar, a man who declared, even before we started, that VENTOUX would indeed be a target. He'd love to win there in yellow, he said. Well, getting there before a breakaway is something else, and there was lots of determined riders on a day with a long lead-in to hell itself. 172 kilometres, Mont Ventoux at the end of it, with beautiful rolling terrain through Provence just to get at the very foot. An intermediate sprint to draw out something for the sprinters. And then, of course, the bald mountain itself. Magnificent. Through Château-Renard, beyond the tree line. What on earth could spoil the fun? Wind occasionally, but not today. Temperatures, well, reasonably high, but survivable. Wout van Aert attacking immediately, as you heard from race radio. And then it settled down, at least we thought it did. Marco Haller and Mark Hirschi from Tudor Pro Cycling. Sandro Maurice from Alpecin de Koenig following on. But there was no accord. Nobody wanted to let them up the road. There was teams like Cofidis that were determined to be involved. And every attempt there was at a blockade at the front of the peloton came to naught. Others found their way through and then followed by a flood. And ultimately, we had 32 riders up the road that really believed that they could have the day. Well, already in this race, we've had 6 breakaway days. Could it be number 7? Well, plenty believed it could be. And the pace was absolutely relentless. We were nudging up over 50 kilometres per hour. We're kind of getting used to saying those words in this race. And finally, we had a fighting force that would take on the intermediate sprint. Julien Alaphilippe was showboating. Of course, it's part of his DNA. But when we got to our intermediate sprint, we had a distinct lack of those involved in the points competition. Jonathan Milan had missed out on it after desperately trying several times to get himself up the road. It was not to be for him. Others were having some fun. Well, Abrahamson was one of those up towards the front that's got those points, but really it was just about prizes for the mechanics, I think. Everyone else, well, the mechanics of the day were that Niels Pollitt would break the heart of anyone else who tried to get up the road. And quite frankly, the breakaway itself was starting to tire. It was also starting to fracture and then got very, very selective. Some amazing riders were indeed up the road. Tiemann Arendsman looked at very, very strong again. Well, that chase group, Perret-Peintre decided that he had to go now if he was going to have a chance. Ben Healy as well, extricating himself from that group of fine riders. Meanwhile, Enric Mas pushed on. And Enric Mas looked absolutely amazing. Arendsman was tumbling back into the arms of Healy. Meanwhile, Sepp Kuss was on the blower, trying to go as deep as he possibly could, just making sure that he would release the inevitable, which was an attack that would come from Jonas Vingegaard. In the meantime, Arendsman was wound in. Perret-Peintre bridged over, starting to have a little belief as well. Likewise, Jonas Vingegaard, who went for it, got Tadej Pogačar. This, indeed, from a group now 5 minutes down. But just watch that clock. It was starting to tumble because there were some very tired riders further up the road. And they were finding some of them out on the road. Healy just trying to invoke a little bit of assistance here from Santiago Buitrago from Bahrain Victorious. Not a bit of it. You had to help yourself on a day like today, and that's exactly what Jonas Vingegaard decided to do, but could not shake Pogačar. Every time he looked back, it was just yellow vision. And so they were closing the gap down towards the 3-minute mark with 5.1 kilometres to go. Dropping back, Campenaerts from that select group had been up the road. Lipovic struggling, but helped by Roglic to try and stay in touch with that young riders classification, and well placed overall. And then finally we came to the business end of the day. Campenaerts had done his thing. slinging away yet again. Another step taken by Jonas Vingegaard, but every step taken, he had a partner, and that was Pogačar. Barry Pantre and Ben Healy going toe-to-toe. It was like a prize fight. One after the other, they tried to lay blows upon each other. But still, with 2.6 kilometres to go, it was a long way, especially with these kind of inclines. Others would bridge over and continue to fight. Mas and Buitrago hadn't given up. There were others, like Ilan van Wilder as well, that wanted to help. But it was a question of trying to help yourself, if you possibly could. 1,200 metres to go. Pogačar went on the attack. Drama personified.
Healy's going. He's out the saddle. Barry Pantre's trying to do it. They've still got to turn around and go up the hill. The observatory awaits and watching them come in. You can see that Buitrago's there as well. But here goes Healy. Look at Barry Pantre. There are French hopes. Are they about to be satisfied? And I think they are. Look at Barry Pantre. A dream come true. And finally it's the French. This one's historic.
Absolutely wonderful. And then a secondary battle behind, of course. Pogačar just getting another couple of seconds on, of course, Jonas Vingegaard. Barry Pantre has broken the dam for French riders on this tour. He got there. Brilliantly helped by Van Wilder, who finished in 4th place. Ben Healy just missing out, given the same time as Barry Pantre. Buitrago doggedly in 3rd place on the day. What an amazing win. Barry Pantre, Soudal-QuickStep. They had the disappointment of the departure of Remco Evenepoel, Catania before him. Look at this though. Tadej Pogačar, 4 minutes and 15 now his lead over Jonas Vingegaard. Who is going to stop him? Well, it's a rolling day tomorrow. Then the Col de Loz awaits on stage 18. Could this be a day off for the GC battle? They kind of earned it today. Congratulations to Barry Pantre, Ben Healy and Buitrago, who made up today's podium. But overall, Tadej Pogačar stays in charge. And this is how things will shape up. Jonathan Milan, well, he still leads the points competition, and we'll have a chance tomorrow.